morning everyone, and welcome to the 76th episode of the MyMuddlings podcast. You notice I nearly tripped over that number again. I always seem to do that. So yes, welcome. There's a lot of things that are different. Clearly I have a lot less hair today. I decided on the spur of the moment to go and get it cut last week, and this is the result. I've noticed at least one person noticed on a picture that I posted on Instagram and to the My Muddlings podcast Facebook group or group page, whatever it is, yesterday that I have cut my hair. So yes, I thought I would record today. Today is a Monday, so it's not my usual recording day. I am also trying out some new tech today because I've decided, Simon and I bought a DSLR for a very long time. It was our wedding gift to ourselves, and I have dug it out. So I am attempting to record this podcast on my DSLR. It is a Canon EOS 600D, so it's, I think, the equivalent, it's like the Rebel equivalent in America. I believe it's a T3i, I think it is. So it's not the really high fancy one, but it is pretty good. It's definitely a little overpowered for our skills, shall I say. But I'm hoping that I'm in focus. I have attempted to get myself in focus because this model on video does not engage the autofocus. So if I'm to show you anything today, I'm going to have to, there's probably going to be some cuts because if I want to show you a close-up of something, I'm probably going to need to refocus. So bear with me. I'm hoping that yes, that we can figure this out because I do have a video camera. It's a Sony like Handycam type camera, and that is what I previously have been recording with. However, I feel like the quality is not as good as you would expect from a devoted video camera. I fiddled with the settings and I fiddled with frame rates and things like that, and I just can't seem to get a nice, clear, crisp picture. So that's another motivation as to why I have gotten the DSLR out. So I'm hoping potentially to improve the quality of the video, and please do let me know what you think. I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that this is in focus, and yes, I will be attempting to figure out some way to make sure that I am in focus and that you guys get a good quality podcast. So thank you all for joining me today. As I said, it is a Monday. It's not my usual recording day. However, I am thinking perhaps I will swap back to Mondays. That was what I used to record. Previously, it was always a Monday that I recorded on, so before I moved to Thursdays. So yeah, I might move back to Mondays, but the main impetus for me recording today is I last week ordered my yarn for the Christmas self-striping pre-orders, so that will be arriving on Wednesday according to my tracking, and I'm going to be a very, very busy bee getting all of those skeins warped up and ready to dye. And I'm still working towards getting everything out by the end of November. Today is the 5th of November, so I should be okay. Fingers crossed. I am going to obviously keep all the people who have ordered in touch. I'll keep in touch and let them know what's going on. And if you are interested in getting a hold of your own Christmas self-striping from Lovebird Lane, I still have the pre-orders up. They are still in the shop, so please go and have a look. And I do also have a few in-stock skeins, or 2 in-stock skeins each of Sooty Santa and Gingerbread House. So I have some of those in the shop right now to ship, ready to ship. So yeah, if you wanted to grab those, you can go ahead. So yes, I think that's probably all of the little bits and pieces at the beginning. So I guess I can talk about a couple of FOs, and I've just realised that I completely forgot one and I need to go get it. So I will be back. Alright, I have my first FO, and if you've been following along in the last few episodes, you'll recognise these. They are Simon's Big Brown Socks of Doom. So they are finished. I Was very lucky that I had a bit of knitting time at Knit Spin Weave's 3rd birthday celebration. I was able to stand and just knit on these. So I actually managed to finish the second sock's leg and the heel and start on the foot on that day. So I got so much done. And I think that just spurred me on to get them finished because, as I discussed in one of my previous episodes, I had the BFF self-striping yarn that I will show you in a little bit because those socks have been cast on. So I had that as the carrot that was dangling in front of me so that I would get these done. And they are done. And these were the FO that I had to go and grab because I did already hand them to Simon and say, here you go, here are your socks. So yes, just plain vanilla socks, you know, my usual vanilla socks a la Lovebirdlane, and this is Lorna's Laces, and it is their Worcester colourway on their Soulmate base. So that's the one that's got the Outlast fibre in it. That's supposed to be really good for moisture wicking. I believe it was NASA engineered, if you believe all the stories that we are told. So yeah, they're just basic socks. There we go. So that is the Worcester colourway. It's just a really nice variegated brown. And yeah, I'm glad that they're done. Okay, and my next FO is quite glorious. I'm incredibly happy with it, and it is my Plumetee shawl. So I finished it. It is huge. You're gonna see hardly any of it in my frame here. It has not been blocked yet, so I haven't got it on my dress form behind me as I normally would with shawls and things that I finish like that. But it is rather big. It is a big cream triangle with these lovely eyeletted wedges knit onto the side. So I was incredibly enabled by Molly of A Homespun House with this project because, and the colours as well, because cream isn't usually my colour. But she was knitting this, and she knit it on her sparkle base and along with a strand of mohair. So that is what I decided to do. So I think I already discussed, I got this mohair. Nicole of the Cola Girl Collective was very kind to sell me some of her bare yarn. So I was able to dye up to match my sides, and then I've just left it bare. So this cream is just it bare. I've not put any dye to it. All I did before I knit it was just wash it. So like I said, I've done exactly what Molly did. So I've got my glitzy base here, which is a gold stellina fingering weight yarn. And you know, even just holding this up in front of me, it's so warm. And today is not exceptionally warm, but it feels really, really warm. Yeah, so I held it doubled with the mohair. I'll show you a close-up in just a second so that you can see the lovely halo. And then, yeah, I knit this. This is my dusky mauve, dusty or dusky, I can never remember which one it is, dusty mauve colourway. And I have yet to actually recreate this. I did try for the Knit Spin Weave market that I was at, but unfortunately, because the mohair comes in 50-gram skeins, so when I when I dyed these this colour here, it was a full skein and one of those mohair skeins. So it was 150 grams, which is only, you know, 1.5 regular skeins of yarn. So I tried to tweak the dyes to level it up to a full 2 skeins, and it came out really, really brown, like a browny gold, rather than the slightly purpley mauvey colour that this is. So I still need to do some tweaking on it. But I do really love this colour, so I think it'll be worth it. So if I hold it right up, you can see that the wedges, there's short rows on these side wedges, and you increase at the end to keep the triangle shape. And yeah, I really, really enjoyed this. And by the end of it, the short rows and the eyelet pattern becomes like second nature. It's just really easy to remember. I had my trusty row counter on my phone to make sure I was doing the right thing at the right time. And yeah, it was super simple. It was very lovely to knit. The mohair is just glorious. It is so soft and it's so squishy, and like I said, it is warm, so I'm sure this will be getting a lot of wear next winter, because as you can see, it is really big. I can put it around my shoulders, and I'll just stand up here and you can see that it comes all the way down. So it is a very big shawl. I used, I can't remember exactly what it was, but there's at least, I think 1.5 skeins of the cream in there, of each. And obviously not quite a whole, I think it was only possibly about half of each ball was used in the edge. I will link it in the show notes, of course, like I always do, so if you want to go and check my yardages, head over to the show notes, which is at MyMuddlings.com, and it'll link you through to my project page on Ravelry, so if you wanted to check that out. And yeah, I love this. It is really beautiful, and this is by Melody Hoffman, which I did not say. But yeah, check this pattern out. It is really lovely, and a very peaceful knit, I have to say. It was nice and calming. It was very meditative. It's all garter stitch, so you know, just knitting the whole way, apart from your eyelets and your slip-slip knits and things like that. Yeah, it's a really lovely project. So as you can see, it's just lovely garter stitch with these little eyelets, and you've got your short row sections on the side. I don't know quite what happened here, but I think it's because the yarn over was so close to the edge. It's kind of given it a little bit of a skew-if kind of edge. So yeah, there's your eyelets on the edge, and it's a really beautiful project. So this next one is probably going to blow you away, because it has not taken me very long at all to get as far as I am. So I have been very enabled with this project by watching Kristen of Wool and Vine Yarns on her podcast, which is now just known as Wool and Vine. It is no longer known as the Yarngasm podcast. It is just Wool and Vine. And yeah, I've been very enabled by her, because she, if you watch her podcast, has been knitting the Throwback. It's a pattern by Andrea Mowry, and it's a lovely colourwork pattern. And I basically have stolen all of Kristen's colours because I really enjoyed the colours that she chose, and I had a sweater's quantity worth of my main colour just sitting in my stash, so all I had to do really was to get the contrast colours. So without further ado, here is my cardigan. So I have literally, when did I start this? It was late last week, I think I started this project. And yeah, I've gotten this far. So the colour work I got done within days. Like, it was very potato chippy. Like, I just wanted to keep going. I wanted to do more. I wanted to keep knitting. And my progress has slowed a little bit now when I'm just knitting backwards and forwards flat. A very interesting exercise in knitting flat colour work. So I didn't really have a problem with it, to be honest. I found it it was challenging. I did find it a little hard on my hands because I was doing two-handed colour work, so I am able to knit both continental and English style. So I just basically held a colour in each hand and just knit along. And on the knit sides, perfectly fine. On the purl sides, I found it a little bit tough on my hands. And I think that was the main thing that burned me out the most towards the end, because at the beginning of the colour work, because you start at the neck here, at the beginning of the colour work, I was so excited and I was like, knit. And then I started the motif and I was like, yay, I'm on the motif. And then by the time I got to the end of the motif, it was like, oh my gosh, please be over. And then, you know, it got back to this section here, which is really easy because it's just knit one of each colour. So knit grey, knit colour, knit grey, knit colour. So yes, and I'll show you my floats inside because everybody likes to see the floats, and there you go. So they're quite neat, and I find even though in the pattern Andrea does suggest to perhaps go up a needle size on the colourwork sections, because sometimes people can knit their colourwork a little bit tighter than regular gauge. I just stuck to the needle that I had because I don't think I lost any size. I think if anything, my colourwork stitches are actually bigger because I'm so paranoid about not having enough yarn in back and having it pucker up and not being able to block those puckers out, that I probably am a little bit looser, I would think, on my colourwork sections than tighter. So yeah, I just stuck with the same needle and just was very conscious to try and keep enough yarn in those floats to not pucker it, and also, you know, to try not to have the stitches become really huge. I think I did a pretty good job, but it does need a block because it's a little bit puckery at the moment. It does need a block, but I think once it's blocked, it's going to block out quite well. And yeah, I'm tossing up whether to, because this pattern has a very long bottom hem, and I'm tossing up whether I want to add a little bit more length to the body before I start the hem, because according to the schematic for my size, it's going to be approximately only 13 inches down from the underarm, and I have quite a long body, and I think to my natural waist, I think I'm about 9.5 inches, which is this bit here is 9 inches. You can see all my stitch markers there. That is 9 inches down, and I'm thinking I might like to put maybe go at least up to 10.5. I have plenty of yarn left. So yeah, I'm thinking I might make it a little bit longer just to, you know, have it a bit longer, because I'm not really into cropped cardigans. On Andrea, it does not look cropped. But yeah, so I'm still kind of tossing that up at the moment because I will need to swap down to a smaller needle size to do the hem. So I'm trying to decide whether I want to just keep going on the body for a bit longer before I start the hem, or what I want to do. So I'm a little unsure. I'm thinking I'll probably end up adding the extra length, and I may even throw in a few short rows, I think, just to make it a little bit longer at the back. The cool thing with this pattern is she actually gets you to do short rows at the base of your neck as well, so you could probably see that here is a lot shallower than here, and that's because there's short rows in here just to give you that little bit more depth at the back of the neck. So yeah, I'm thinking I may do some short rows on the bottom, put a little bit more length in, do a little bit of short row, and then start my hem. I think that's probably where I'm going to go from here. So that is the throwback, and I love it so much. And my final project for today is, as I said, my BFF socks. So I've been working on these, and unlike the big brown socks of doom, these are actually very, very exciting. So this is what I have so far, and I'm using my own yarn. So this is Lovebirdlane yarns, and the cuff is just a very light lilac on my Swindon sock, and the body of the sock itself is just I think it's the same Swindon sock, and it is a one of a kind. Well, it's actually two of a kind because I do have two skeins because I dyed it 2 at a time. But it will never be repeated self-striping, so that's an 8 striper. And the reason it will not be repeated is that I've decided that 8 stripes is a little too much for me. I don't enjoy dyeing 8 stripes. So each stripe is 3 to 4 rounds deep. At this gauge, there's only just like maybe an inch where the colour is 3 rounds and the rest is 4 rounds. So this pair here is for my friend Emma. So Emma, if you're watching, hey Emma. She's my friend who's not a crafter but likes to watch my podcast. Go figure. So yeah, these are for her. And I will be, like I said, knitting myself a matching pair. Just slightly bigger because Emma is got tiny feet. I've got big honking feet, so yeah. little bit of tidbit information there for you. So yes, this is my BFF socks, and yeah, I'm just plugging away on them. I'm just knitting on them every now and then, and as you know, if you're a sock knitter who knits with self-striping, it can be very addictive, and you just want to do just one more round, you know, just one more stripe, just one more stripe. So that's what I found with these, and because the stripes are only 3 to 4 rounds deep, I can get that knocked out really, really quickly. So if I wanted to add an extra stripe here or there, it gets done really, really quickly. So I think I've got probably another inch or two to get down to the heel, and then I will be doing the heels and the toes in this same lilac colour, because I do have a whole skein in that colour. And here's the ball of the self-striping there. It's a bit hard to see the stripes in the ball. The ball's a bit tight actually, it's a little bit manky. Okay, so that's all I've been working on for this week. And pretty much, what else have I got to talk about? Talk about a bit of what's gone on in the last week, or 2 weeks really. I think it's been since I recorded a podcast, a week and a half. This last few days has been pretty full on. I'm a bit tired. I'm feeling a little bit fatigued even doing this podcast, because I am an introvert and I do get quite a drain on my emotional energy when I am talking and interacting with people a lot. So this weekend was a pretty big one. I pretty well got a bee in my bonnet on Thursday, and I didn't like my hair because I always feel really drab with my hair being long. I went and they shampooed me up, and it was really funny because the girl was like, are you sure? You sure you want to do this? I'm like, yep, just go ahead. My hair grows like wildfire anyway, so if I just decide to change my mind, I'll just grow it out. It'll be fine. And yeah, so she started with the undercut, and she goes, well, it's too late now, you've got an undercut. And I was like, well, it's fine, keep going. So yeah, so that was a lot of fun. She was a really, really nice stylist. She was very, very good. So I was really happy with the cut. It looks a little flat today, but that's pretty much because I washed it last night and blow dried it so that it was all sitting nicely, and then I slept straight on it, so because I had to go straight to bed. But I'm loving it. I feel like it's really me. Like, I feel very me with this haircut, and I like the fact that it's so low maintenance, that it's quick to wash, it's quick to dry. I pretty much don't need to style it at all. Chuck some sea salt spray through. I went out Friday night. I have my cleaning shift, as I often talk about, on Friday afternoons. So I had that on Friday, and then we were meeting my mother-in-law's Chinese student. She's actually leaving the country next week, and we're pretty sad about it. And we wanted her to take us shopping to show us where she got all the delicious foods that she's fed us since she's been here. And so she took us out and about down Guja Street in Adelaide. She took us through a couple of supermarkets and showed us where to find all the bits and pieces that she used, and we picked up a few little bits and pieces here and there, and that was a lot of fun. And then she took us to this really amazing noodle spot, which was really lovely. It's called Taste, and I think it's on Wright Street in Adelaide. So if you're looking for a really good, really authentic noodle spot in Adelaide, that's a good one to try. The prices were really, really good too. Simon and I would really like to go back there. I had some noodles that were uber hot, but they were so tasty. I couldn't stop eating them, because the way that they're put together, it's like the bottom of the bowl, it's got like a chili oil sort of sauce on the bottom, and then they put the noodles on top. The waiter, when he gave me my dish, he said you can sort of choose how hot you want it, because the more oil you put on the noodles, the hotter it's going to get. So I'm like, okay, that's good. But, as I'm trying to get my noodles out, it's just dragging more and more of this oil up. And it was really tasty, and I really enjoyed them. But of course then my nose started streaming, because that's the thing that happens to me when I eat hot food. My nose started running really, really badly. And as I'm wiping my nose, like trying to get myself all tidy so I can eat some more of these amazing noodles, my sister-in-law looks at me and she goes, you are going bright red. And Simon looked at me and he's like, yeah, you're bright red. Saturday I got a new piercing, which I was really excited about. You might be able to just see it. It's just in my right ear. I got a Darth piercing, and this is a piercing which is the little ridge of cartilage right above your ear hole in your ear, if you want to feel around in there. It is a sort of a folk remedy for migraines, actually. I don't get migraines. I get headaches from time to time, but migraines not so much. I haven't had them since I was a teenager, so I didn't really get the piercing for the migraine relief. I just really liked the look of the piercing. My piercer talked me into getting exactly the same. It's exactly the same jewellery that I have in my septum piercing. So it's a horseshoe with little balls on the end. And I said to him that I wanted a different type of jewellery, and he said, well, I actually kind of prefer this shape in that piercing, you know, just for healing's sake and things like that. And I'm like, oh, but then that's pretty boring if I have the same jewellery in my nose as I have in my ear. And I was a little bit like, and he goes, well, what about this? So he pulls out this little container, and there's all these little like opalite cabochons in it. And he said, and well, you can, you know, what you can do is you can pick one of these and you can just slot it between the two balls on the horseshoe, and like the tension just keeps it there. And as soon as he said that, I'm like, sold. That's what I want. So that is what I've got in my ear. And maybe I'll put the picture in now so that you can see what I'm talking about with the little cabochon that's sitting between the balls on the horseshoe. So yeah, I got that done. I have to say, it really bloody hurt. I mean, clearly you can see I've got a nose ring, a nostril, and I've got my septum pierced. And both of those, I've got my earlobes pierced as well. The earlobes were probably worse than anything on my nose. My septum I didn't really feel at all. My nostril was a bit more of a pinch. My earlobes, because I got that done with a gun, which is not desirable, was quite painful. And this definitely takes the cake. This Darth piercing takes the cake as the most painful piercing I've had so far. My friend Emma was with me, and she recorded a video of it, but I'm actually thinking of starting a second YouTube channel with more vlogs and things from my life and me trying out different things and my piercing videos and my piercing experience and stuff. So I will keep you posted on that if you're interested in following along on my other channel once I've got it up and running. But you can probably really see the pain on my face. Because I would probably say, because it is like, it's my first real cartilage piercing, I guess. I mean, your nose does go through, like your nostril piercing does go through cartilage, but it's nowhere near as thick as like the cartilage in the Darth area of your ear or any part of your ear, because, you know, you can feel your ear, you can feel how thick the cartilage is in there. So yeah, I would probably say when it was getting done, it was right up at a 7 or an 8 out of 10 in the pain. It is still a little painful, but it's back down to around the 2 level, 2 to 3 if I knock the front of my ear, which I'm trying not to do, obviously. So yeah, I was really happy with it, and my piercer did a fantastic job as usual. He is top notch. Definitely check out the Happy Stabber if you're in Adelaide and you want to get your get some piercings done. He is the dude to go to. So yeah, that was a lot of fun. And then Emma and I ended up hanging out in town for ages, and we had a coffee and did a little bit of retail therapy, just a little bit. We ended up going into Lush, which was a mistake because we both walked out buying things that we didn't intend to buy to begin with. The salespeople are really, really persuasive in Lush. But I ended up, one of those things was for Simon, so I got him a massage bar. So it wasn't only for me. I was thinking of my hubby. So yeah, we went in there, and then we headed down to Simon's Sailing Club because it was family dinner. So yeah, that's kind of all that's gone on. I think I'm just about talked out now. I really, really hope that this has turned out in focus. I've been using a mop so that I can focus on it, and the mop is, you know, being a mock-up for my head, so I can go close to the camera and focus on the mop, so that hopefully my face will be in focus when I get back. But anyway, thank you so much for watching today. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for sticking with me even though I disappear for weeks on end. I really appreciate each and every one of you. And yeah, if you can remember to give me a like, it really, really helps. And I hope you're all going to have a fantastic week. It is Monday, so I hope you have a fantastic week planned ahead. Happy crafting, happy knitting, take care of yourself. And thank you so much for hanging out with me. Enjoy. Bye.